In 1990, the exile came to a conclusion? No. In 1990, the exile became an exile of the Jewish mind. Now, the issue became which knowledge, how will it affect you, what's your perspective, what you relate to. The Jew and the challenge that he was facing as of 1990 is up here, in the head, intellectual. We need to answer one more question, though. Just imagine the following scenario. There is God and Adam in the Garden of Eden. God says to Adam, see this tree over here? This is the Eitz Hadas Tova. This is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Don't eat from this tree. If you do, you're going to die. So Adam turns to God and says, what's that tree right next door? So God says, oh, that's the tree of life. Eitz Chaim. So Adam says, that sounds very positive. Why is it called the tree of life? Because if you eat from that tree, you live forever. So Adam has two trees. He has a tree that promises immortality. And he's a tree that promises mortality. For some reason, he wants to eat from this tree of mortality. But he doesn't want to die. So what do? You eat from the tree of life first. It's simple. It's so logical. It makes the most amount of sense. So God says to Adam, wait a second. Did you eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil? You had to have eaten from the Eitz Hadas Tova. I told you not to do it, and you did it, and I warned you, and now you're going to die. So Adam says, well, there's one problem. I ate from the tree of life first. And you told me if you eat from the tree of life first, you'll live forever. So you can't kill me because now I'm immortal. If Adam had eaten the tree of life first, and then he ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, not only would he not have had to hide the bushes, but God would have said to him, it's exactly what you're supposed to do. You didn't fool me. That was the challenge. You passed. And now you live in the Garden of Eden forever. He didn't do that. Why? He says the most fantastic thing. He says, because if you looked at the tree of life, it had no fruit. Because the bark of the tree itself was the fruit. If you ate the bark of the tree of life, you discovered that was its fruit. But the tree of knowledge of good and evil, its fruit is hanging there. You could see it from the distance. But the tree of life, you had to first go in and taste it. And then you understood that was its fruit. And that's why King Solomon wrote, Eitz Chaim l'machazikim ba. He has to say and tell you it's a tree of life, but you're not going to know it until you grasp it. It's a tree of life for those people who grasp it, for those people who go inside of it, who actually experience it and witness the wisdom of it. But from the outside, it's wood, it's bark, meaningless. You can't gain from it. There's nothing to gain. But the knowledge of good and evil, with a law degree, you can go into business and make money, retire early. As a doctor, you can do this. As an architect, you can build buildings. You can make a name for yourself. If a person goes in and tastes the tree of life, not only are they able to enjoy the tree of life, explain the Kabbalists, but in tasting the tree of life, they're able to taste every other tree in the Garden of Eden simultaneously. We are living in the 10th hour of the 6th millennium. We are living in a period of time where the challenge of the Jew is to control the knowledge that he learns and to use it to come closer to God, to stand up to the challenge, the onslaught of knowledge that's coming at us at incredible rates. But most important of all, to make sure that before we eat and indulge in the tree of knowledge of good and evil, we eat the tree of life.